Hi everyone, my name is Serchen Chokyi. So I'm going to be reading a story. It's called 𝗕𝗓𝗡𝗧. When I was half the size that I am today, I had a strong belief tooth fairies existed, or at least mine did. With a kind of handwriting that screamed, "Doctor, not only a profession but a lifestyle," my tooth fairy wrote letters to me, which were filled with drawings made with an attempt to look like me. Every time my tooth fell off, Mini-Me would be excited for the night to come and wake up with a letter by my side. The letters obviously did not arrive alone and were almost always accompanied with a gift, as my tooth fairy definitely enjoyed spicing things up. Soon the pain of losing a tooth was forgotten, and this natural process quickly turned into an effortless victory. On lucky days, I remember having received chocolates, and on ordinary days, I'd receive accessories for hair that I was persistently told to share with my sister. Don't ask me why I never questioned the fact that the fairy was aware of the existence of my sibling. I simply assumed it must have been the magical powers she possessed. Well, so much for believing. As I look back, I recall the days where I used to spend the entire day creating different scenarios in my mind about how the tooth fairy was successful in entering my room quietly in the dead of the night and left only after showering me with gifts and an awaited letter. But as time passed, so did my perspective. I had learned to come to terms with the fact that the tooth fairy had come to life due to the efforts of my mother, and about how she did not actually exist in real life. It definitely makes more sense to me now why the tooth fairy provided comfort and felt like someone warm who was always on the lookout for us. I share this story about my tooth fairy because it is simply one of the fondest memories I have of her. Being a loving and simple-natured person with a radiant smile, she has juggled with being a tooth fairy, a doctor, as well as a mother. With a presence that truly lights up every room, she has a forte of making people feel heard and accepted. A person who enjoys celebrating every moment of her day, and as all parents do, yields to the art of gardening whilst also scoring us simultaneously, being the multitasker as she is. A warrior as all mothers are, my mother faces plenty of wars every day without shedding a tear, let alone a single sigh. She faces difficulties in her office, at home, even internally, but somehow always manages to find humor in it all and still holds me tenderly when I have a rough day at school and says, "It's all going to be okay, you're all right." Does she not know that my petty problems are nothing compared to hers? She is so much like me, yet there are times where I fail to understand her. When we argue, I fail to understand myself. Creating havoc, the teenager in me has always barged into my room and hidden under the quilt in a state of vexation. But as I've grown older, it makes more sense to me how human the both of us are. And even after we've had our bad days filled with innumerable misunderstandings, my mother has always made it a point to enter my room in the dead of the night, to make sure if I'm tucked in all right, and place a tender kiss on my forehead. As I awake after my charade of slumber, I am only but a spectator of the footsteps that have silently left my room. And as I lay back, there is reason for me to believe that maybe the tooth fairy was real after all. Thank you.